Welcome to the world of science fiction stories, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe my channel. Enjoy the listening. The aliens expected a fleet, but one ship proved them wrong. The lone human exploration vessel HSS Pathfinder drifted to a stop at the edge of unexplored space. Captain Ju Kim stood on the bridge, her hands clasped behind her back as she stared at the view screen. The sight before them was unlike anything they had encountered in their 3 years of exploration. "That's a lot of ships," Lieutenant Park muttered from the tactical station, his fingers dancing across the console as he tried to count the vessels arrayed before them. Captain Kim nodded slowly, her expression carefully neutral despite the rapid beating of her heart. 7 distinct design patterns. We're looking at a coalition. The bridge fell silent as everyone processed this unexpected development. The Pathfinder was primarily a scientific vessel with minimal armaments, a sleek, elegant ship designed for exploration rather than confrontation. Now they faced what appeared to be hundreds of warships in a precise, intimidating formation. "Run a full scan, Lieutenant Park. Let's see what we're dealing with," Captain Kim ordered, her voice calm despite the tension filling the bridge. "Already on it, Captain," Park replied, his eyes fixed on his console. "Weapon systems are active on all vessels but not locked onto us yet." Commander Doan, a tall man with serious eyes, moved to stand beside his captain. "Recommended course of action?" he asked quietly. Before Kim could respond, Communications Officer Lee spoke up from her station. "Captain, they're hailing us, audio and visual." Kim took a deep breath and straightened her navy blue uniform. "On screen, Officer Lee." The main view screen flickered to life, revealing a reptilian alien with iridescent scales that shimmered with blues and greens. Its multiple eyes, 4 in total, narrowed as it studied the humans. A translator device hummed quietly in the background. "You send only one ship?" the alien asked, its voice deep and resonant. "Where is your fleet?" Captain Kim blinked in surprise. "Fleet? We have no fleet. The HSS Pathfinder is an exploration vessel on a peaceful mission." The alien commander's scales shifted color slightly, displaying patterns that the humans couldn't interpret. "I am Kor, commander of the Unified Defense Coalition. Your response is unexpected. May I ask why you expected a fleet, Commander Kor?" Kim asked carefully. Kor's head tilted slightly. "Our intelligence indicates that humans always arrive in overwhelming numbers prepared for conquest. This is how you secured your home system and your first colonies, yet you appear with a single vessel." Its multiple eyes blinked in sequence. "A curious strategy." Captain Kim exchanged confused glances with Commander Doan. Earth had never pursued aggressive expansion policies. Their colonies had been established peacefully on uninhabited worlds, and the Pathfinder mission itself was purely exploratory. "There seems to be a serious misunderstanding," Kim said. "Humanity has no interest in conquest. We explore to learn and understand, not to claim or conquer." Science Officer Yunji stepped forward from her station. "Captain, if I may?" At Kim's nod, she addressed the alien commander. "Our vessel contains primarily scientific equipment. We carry minimal defensive capabilities and no offensive weapons designed for ship-to-ship combat." Kor's scales rippled with what might have been disbelief. "You will permit scans to verify this claim?" "Of course," Captain Kim agreed. "We have nothing to hide." The bridge crew waited tensely as the alien ships conducted their scans. Captain Kim used the time to observe the coalition fleet more carefully. The ships varied greatly in design. Some were angular and metallic, others appeared almost organic with flowing lines and unusual propulsion systems. It truly was a gathering of different species united for a common purpose. "Scans confirm your vessel is as described," Kor finally announced. "This is perplexing. Our surveillance of human communications suggested your species was preparing for galactic conquest." "Perhaps there's been a misunderstanding," Captain Kim offered. "I propose a diplomatic meeting to clear up this confusion. I would be happy to explain our mission and learn more about the Unified Defense Coalition." The alien commander was silent for a long moment, its scales shifting through various color patterns as it apparently considered the offer. The bridge crew of the Pathfinder waited, hardly daring to breathe. "Very well," Kor finally agreed. "A small delegation may board my vessel. We will discuss this misunderstanding." "Thank you, Commander Kim," replied with a small bow of her head. "We appreciate this opportunity for peaceful dialogue." After the communication ended, the bridge erupted in hushed conversations. "Captain, is this wise?" Commander Doan asked quietly. "We know nothing about these aliens. This could be a trap." Kim turned to face her crew. "What we do know is that they believe humanity is a threat. They formed a coalition specifically to defend against us based on some kind of intelligence that's completely wrong. If we run now, we confirm their fears. This might be our only chance to prevent a war before it starts." "I'll prepare the shuttle," Commander Doan said, recognizing the determination in his captain's eyes. "I'll need a small team. Commander Doan, Science Officer Yunji, and Communications Officer Lee, you're with me," Captain Kim decided. As they prepared to depart, Lieutenant Park caught the captain's arm. "The sensors picked up something strange during their scan of us, Captain. For a moment, it seemed like they were focusing intensely on our communications array." "Noted, Lieutenant. Keep the ship at yellow alert while we're gone. If anything happens, your primary objective is to get back to Earth with this information." Kim's expression was serious. "But let's hope it doesn't come to that." The small shuttle detached from the Pathfinder and moved slowly toward the massive alien flagship at the center of the blockade. Inside, Captain Kim and her team prepared themselves for first contact with a coalition that had been expecting a war. "Whatever happens," Kim told her team quietly, "remember that we represent not just the Pathfinder but all of humanity. Our actions here may determine the future of human-alien relations for generations to come." As their shuttle approached the enormous alien vessel, they could see the intricate patterns etched into its hull, telling stories they couldn't yet understand. The docking bay doors opened like the mouth of some great space beast, ready to swallow them whole. "Well," Captain Kim said with a small smile, "let's go make some friends." Captain Kim moved cautiously through the massive doorway of the alien flagship, feeling the weight of every step. Behind her walked her small team: Science Officer Yunji, Security Chief Tu, and Sing Wimi. The corridor stretched before them, impossibly long and lined with warriors from species humans had never encountered before. Some stood on 2 legs, others on 4, and a few seemed to hover above the ground entirely. Their armor gleamed under the blue-tinted lights, weapons clearly visible but not drawn. The message was clear: "We are ready if you try anything." "Stay close," Captain Kim murmured to her team. "Remember, we're here to prevent a war, not start one." Tiu nodded stiffly, his hand never straying far from his side where a simple stunner, their only weapon, was holstered. As security chief, he had protested bringing even this minimal protection, arguing that appearing completely unarmed would show better faith. Captain Kim had overruled him. Some basic protection was prudent. Their alien escort, a tall being with silver skin that reflected the corridor lights like a walking mirror, stopped before an enormous circular door. The door slid open silently, revealing a vast chamber beyond. "The council awaits you," the escort announced, gesturing them inside. The conference chamber was circular with a round table at its center. Already seated were 7 distinct aliens, each apparently representing one of the coalition species. Captain Kim recognized Kor immediately, his iridescent scales shimmering under the chamber lights. The humans were directed to seats on one side of the table. Captain Kim noted that their chairs were lower than the others, forcing them to look up at the aliens, a clear psychological tactic. "Welcome aboard the Sentinel," Kor said, his multiple eyes focusing on each human in turn. "This is the first time humans have entered our space peacefully, according to our records." "We appreciate the opportunity for dialogue," Captain Kim replied evenly. "There seems to be a significant misunderstanding about human intentions that we hope to clear up." A low rumble came from a massive, bear-like creature covered in blue fur. The translator on the table converted it to words. "Misunderstanding? Your intentions are clear enough." Kor raised a scaled hand. We have monitored your transmissions for decades. Your species prepares for war across the stars. Mi's eyes widened as the translation came through. She leaned close to Captain Kim and whispered urgently, "Captain, I think I understand. They've been receiving our entertainment broadcasts, movies, television, games." Yoonji nodded in agreement. They've misinterpreted fiction as documentary evidence. The bulbous alien with tentacle-like appendages that sat opposite them pulsed slightly, its skin changing color from green to orange. Your military exercises, your technological development patterns, all point to preparation for galactic conquest. We have analyzed thousands of your transmissions. May I ask which transmissions specifically? Captain Kim asked carefully. The aliens exchanged glances. A holographic display appeared in the center of the table, showing clips of what the humans immediately recognized as science fiction programs. Scenes from popular space operas, movies about alien invasions, and military science fiction shows played one after another. "Here you plot the conquest of multiple star systems," said a crystalline being, pointing to a clip from a fictional strategic space game championship. "And here, your leaders discuss the annihilation of alien species." The screen showed a scene from a blockbuster film where actors portrayed military generals planning to fight an invading force. Captain Kim couldn't help but smile slightly, quickly hiding it when she saw the aliens' reactions. "I understand the confusion now. What you're seeing are works of fiction, entertainment for our people. These aren't real events or plans." "Entertainment," Kor's scales darkened. "You find joy in the thought of war and conquest." "Not exactly," Yoonji interjected. "Humans use storytelling to explore ideas, fears, and possibilities. Many of our stories involve conflict because it creates drama, but they don't reflect our actual intentions or policies." Mi nodded eagerly. "It would be like judging your species based only on your ancient myths or children's stories." A small, delicate alien with gossamer wings fluttered slightly. "What of your actual military capabilities? Our analysis shows rapid advancement in propulsion, energy weapons, and shield technology." "Those technologies have multiple applications," Captain Kim explained. "Faster propulsion helps us explore further, energy technology powers our cities, shields protect against natural hazards in space." "A convenient explanation," said Kor, "or a clever deception." The distrust in the room was palpable. Captain Kim could feel the weight of 7 different species' suspicion bearing down on her team. "If we wanted to conquer, why would we come with one lightly armed vessel?" she asked simply. "The Pathfinder is an exploration ship. We came seeking knowledge, not territory." The bear-like alien growled something, and the translator converted it. "Perhaps you are scouts for the main invasion force." "That's not how we operate," Security Chief Tiu spoke up for the first time. "I've served in Earth's defense forces for 15 years before joining the Pathfinder mission. If we were planning an invasion, we would have sent probes first, not living crew members." "And our databases are open for your inspection," Captain Kim added. "We have nothing to hide." The alien representatives conferred among themselves in their own languages, the translators unable to keep up with their rapid exchanges. Finally, Kor turned back to the humans. "We will examine your ship's databases more thoroughly, but one question remains unanswered. If you are peaceful explorers, why do so many of your fictional stories center around conflict with other species? What does this reveal about your true nature?" It was a profound question that made even Captain Kim pause. How could she explain humanity's complex relationship with its own fears and hopes? "Our stories reveal that we can imagine both the best and worst of possibilities," she said carefully. "We create fictional conflicts partly to ensure they remain fictional, to work through our fears rather than act on them." Mi added, "Many of our stories also end with understanding and peace between different species. They teach us to recognize our common bonds despite outward differences." "Show us these stories of peace," demanded the crystalline being. Yoonji activated her data pad. "I can access our cultural database and show you examples spanning centuries of human literature and film." As she began to display clips from stories showing peaceful first contact and cooperation between fictional species, Captain Kim noticed a subtle shift in the room's atmosphere. The aliens were watching intently, their postures slightly less rigid. "What you truly need to understand," Captain Kim said quietly, "is that humans are explorers by nature. We're driven by curiosity, not conquest. What you've seen is human imagination, not intention. We explore in small numbers first, learning before expanding." The bulbous alien's tentacles twisted skeptically. "Perhaps this is true, perhaps not. Words are easy to craft." "Then judge us by our actions," Captain Kim proposed. "The Pathfinder has visited 17 star systems before yours. In each one we observed, learned, and departed without claiming territory or resources. Our mission logs will confirm this." As the meeting continued, Captain Kim sensed they had made some progress, but the wall of distrust remained firmly in place. This misunderstanding had been years in the making, and it wouldn't be resolved in a single conversation. What they needed was a chance to prove their peaceful intentions through actions, not just words. But as she looked around at the still suspicious faces of the alien council, she wondered if they would get that chance before someone's fear triggered a conflict that neither side truly wanted. The negotiations had been tense, but promising when a violent shudder ran through the alien flagship, throwing everyone off balance. Captain Kim grabbed the edge of the table to steady herself as the alien representatives rose in alarm. Warning lights flashed across the chamber's walls, and a high-pitched alarm began to sound. "What's happening?" she demanded, looking directly at Kor. Before the reptilian commander could respond, Captain Kim's communicator crackled to life. "Captain," Commander Doan's urgent voice came through clearly despite the distortion. "A faction of the alien coalition is attacking the Pathfinder." The central holographic display that had been showing cultural exchanges now switched to a tactical view of space outside. Kim's breath caught as she saw 3 coalition warships surrounding the Pathfinder, firing energy weapons that lit up the darkness of space. "Explain this," she demanded, turning to Kor with fire in her eyes. The alien commander's scales had turned a deep blue. "This is not by my order," he said, his multiple eyes blinking rapidly. "The Solari faction has always been the most aggressive among us." On the screen, the Pathfinder executed a tight spiral maneuver, narrowly avoiding a concentrated beam that would have cut through its hull. The human vessel then dove beneath one of the attacking ships, using the attacker's bulk as a shield against the others. "Your ship should have been destroyed instantly," Kor said, watching with apparent fascination. Several other alien representatives were also staring at the display with what seemed like surprise. "Pilot Chuno is the best in the fleet," Captain Kim replied calmly, though her heart raced as she watched her ship and crew fighting for their lives. "And our engineer Hyan Wu modified our shields specifically for exploration in unknown conditions." "Impressive," murmured the crystalline being. "Most impressive." Another explosion rocked the vicinity as the Pathfinder narrowly avoided collision with one of the attacking vessels. The human ship spun on its axis, using its thrusters to slide sideways in a maneuver that seemed to defy the laws of physics. "Captain, we can't keep this up forever," Doan's voice came through again. "Shields at 68% and dropping. Henu is rerouting power, but we're taking hits." Kim's mind raced through options. The Pathfinder carried only defensive weapons, point defense systems designed to destroy asteroids and space debris, not to engage other ships. They were hopelessly outgunned. "Order your vessel to return fire," suggested Kor, his voice surprisingly gentle. "It would be justified under these circumstances." All eyes in the room turned to Captain Kim. She understood what this moment meant, how her response would shape these aliens' perception of humanity for generations to come. "No," Captain Kim said firmly, standing tall despite being physically smaller than every alien in the room. "We won't escalate this. The Pathfinder will continue evasive maneuvers but will not fire upon your ships." She turned to face Kor directly. "I trust you to help end this attack, Commander Kor. Show us that the Coalition values peace as much as we do." For 3 long seconds, Kor stared at her, his alien features unreadable to human eyes. Then he moved to a console on the wall and began issuing rapid commands in his native language. On the screen, two larger coalition ships moved to position themselves between the Pathfinder and its attackers. Kor's voice boomed through the communication system, the translator rendering his words into multiple languages simultaneously. "This is Commander Kor of the Unified Defense Coalition. Stand down immediately. The human vessel is under my protection by authority of the Council." The attacking ships hesitated, continuing to circle but no longer firing. "The humans have submitted to inspection and have agreed to share their databases," Kor continued. "This attack is unauthorized and violates Coalition protocols. Stand down now or face disciplinary action." Slowly, reluctantly, the attacking ships powered down their weapon systems. One by one, they turned away from the Pathfinder and rejoined the main fleet formation. Captain Kim exhaled slowly, her shoulders relaxing slightly. "Thank you, Commander." Kor's scales shifted to a more neutral color. "Do not thank me yet, Captain. The Solari will demand answers, as will others. This incident has complicated matters." "Commander Doan, status report," Kim said into her communicator. "Shields holding at 52%, minor damage to the outer hull, no casualties," came the reply. "Chuno sends his regards and asks if you enjoyed the show." Despite the tension, Kim allowed herself a small smile. "Tell him his flying was exemplary. Maintain current position and continue repairs. We'll continue our discussions here." The bear-like alien growled something that the translator converted as, "Why did your ship not fight back? It had opportunities to target engines or weapon systems of the attackers." "Because that's not why we're here," Captain Kim answered simply. "We came to explore and understand, not to fight," Yunji interjected. "Anyone can respond to violence with more violence. It takes strength to choose a different path." Security Chief Tiu nodded in agreement. "Our mission parameters are clear. We avoid conflict whenever possible." The gossamer-winged alien fluttered closer to the humans. "Your restraint is unexpected. The Solari believed your ship would reveal its true nature under threat, that hidden weapons would emerge. The only thing that emerged was our skill at evasive maneuvers," Mi said with a touch of pride. Kor returned to his seat, his posture noticeably less rigid than before. "The Solari faction has been contained, but this incident will have repercussions throughout the Coalition. Some will see your restraint as evidence of your peaceful nature. Others will view it as a clever tactic, sacrificing one ship to gain our trust before your main fleet arrives." Captain Kim met his gaze steadily. "There is no main fleet, Commander, just us." "So you claim," said the crystalline being. "Yet your single vessel withstood an attack from 3 of our warships without returning fire. This suggests either remarkable technology or remarkable restraint. Both are concerning in their own ways." The room fell into an uneasy silence. The attack had changed the dynamic of the negotiations, but Captain Kim couldn't yet tell if it was for better or worse. Trust had been damaged, certainly, but so had the Coalition's certainty about human aggression. "Perhaps," Captain Kim said carefully, "this incident offers us an opportunity. You've seen that we choose peace even when attacked. Now let us show you why we explore, what we hope to learn, and how we might work together rather than against each other." She gestured to Yunji, who activated her data pad. "With your permission, I'd like to share our scientific findings from previous explorations, discoveries that might benefit all our peoples." As Yunji began displaying star charts and scientific data, Captain Kim watched the alien representatives closely. Their body language was still guarded, their trust not yet earned, but they were listening. And for now, that would have to be enough. The crisis had been averted, but Captain Kim knew that the real challenge was just beginning. Somehow she needed to convince these aliens that humanity's greatest strength wasn't in its weapons or ships, but in its endless curiosity and desire to understand the universe, one peaceful encounter at a time. The central command room of the Sentinel had fallen into an uncomfortable silence. Hours had passed since the attack, and though the immediate crisis had ended, the tension remained. Captain Kim stood before the 7 alien representatives, acutely aware that despite her explanations, suspicion still clouded their judgment. "You still believe we're preparing an invasion," Captain Kim said, noting how the alien coalition leaders eyed her suspiciously. She took a deep breath and made a decision that Commander Doan would likely disagree with. "So I offer you complete access to our ship's database and technology." The aliens exchanged glances of disbelief. Kor's scales shimmered with a pattern the humans hadn't seen before. "Complete access?" The crystalline being named Verth asked, its faceted body refracting light as it shifted position. "You would allow us to examine your systems directly?" "Yes," Captain Kim confirmed. "I propose that a delegation from your coalition visits the Pathfinder. See for yourselves what our mission truly entails." Kor conferred briefly with the other representatives. "This could be a trap," the bear-like alien growled. "Or an unprecedented opportunity," countered the gossamer-winged delegate. "You may bring security personnel and whatever scanning equipment you deem necessary," Captain Kim offered. "We have nothing to hide." After much debate, the coalition agreed to send a small delegation representing 3 of their species. Preparations were made, and soon Captain Kim found herself leading the alien visitors through the Pathfinder's airlock. Commander Doan waited to greet them, his expression carefully neutral despite his obvious concerns about letting potential enemies onto their ship. "Welcome aboard the HSS Pathfinder," he said formally. "We've prepared access terminals throughout the ship for your inspection." Science Officer Yunji stepped forward. "I'll be your guide. Where would you like to begin?" Verth, the crystalline being, hummed softly. "Your weapon systems." Yunji smiled. "That won't take long. This way, please." She led them to a small control room where Lieutenant Park stood at attention. "This is our defensive station," Yunji explained. "We carry point defense lasers designed to vaporize small asteroids and space debris, plus 2 electromagnetic pulse generators that can temporarily disable simple electronic systems at close range."